As I'm recording this, we are just days from hitting 2026. And one of the things you may be considering as we move into a new year is your New Year's resolutions. One of those might involve the desire to travel more in 2026 than you have in 2025 or previous years. And you may be wondering how you can get that to happen. One of the best options there is out there is getting a few strategically placed sign up bonuses from credit cards. This video is going to tell you what my opinion is as to the first credit card you should get if you're new to the travel hacking game and why. So, if that's something that interests you, be sure to stick around. If it's your first time here, my name's Chris and I'm a teacher. And one of the things that I'm really interested in is personal finance. And underneath of that is the idea of travel hacking, how to get to various places around the world for literally pennies on the dollar. And that's what I'm focusing on here. I want to help teachers and other people who might be in a similar boat, not making tons of money, but you still want to travel. If that's you, I would appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up for a like and also subscribe to the channel. So now back to the topic, which is the first credit card I would get if I were to start travel hacking for the first time in 2026. So without further ado, I'll just jump in here and tell you what I would do if I were starting travel hacking in 2026. The first card I would get is one of the Chase Sapphire cards. Now, the Chase Sapphire cards, there are two, the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The Reserve is the higher level card. It comes with a much higher annual fee. It comes with a few more bells and whistles and a few more benefits. The other one's the Preferred, comes with a much lower annual fee, a lower sign up bonus, and fewer bells and whistles. So if you're into luxury travel, you're probably going to opt for the Reserve. If you're into more day-to-day travel, not looking to spend a whole lot of money, that would lead you to the Chase Sapphire Preferred instead. Now I'm going to look a little bit deeper into what each of these give you in terms of a sign-up bonus to welcome you to joining the travel hacking game, and in terms of benefits that you get from these, as well as the annual fee. So let's move into that. So I'm going to start out with the Chase Sapphire Reserve card and show you what you can expect if you are going to be working with that. You can get 125,000 bonus points by spending just $6,000 in the first 3 months. That may seem like a whole heck of a lot of money, and it kind of is, but think of it in these terms. You can start paying some utilities. There may be a little bit of a fee, but it'll be more than offset by the number of points that you could get. You could buy groceries, gas, and all sorts of other things that you spend money on, regardless of whether you have a credit card or not. Those 125,000 points will give you at least $1,250 of travel credit if you actually go through the Chase travel portal. Some airlines and hotels, it says you could get up to double that, so 2,500 rather than 1 cent per dollar, but that just varies. There are also several travel and lifestyle benefits, some of which will actually apply to you, some of which will probably not apply to you. You're probably going to be stretching it to get the $5,000 of benefit in the first year because of what I've just said. You're not going to use all of that, but it comes with a $795 annual fee. I had this card probably about 10 years ago is when it first came out, and the annual fee at that time was $450. It gave you a $300 credit each calendar year, not each year that you've held the card. So if you got it in the second half of, say, 2015, you could get another $300 credit right when the calendar turned over. Can't do that anymore. It's only for a 12-month period rather than a calendar year. I actually got paid $150 for holding the card, along with 100,000 bonus points, which at the time was unheard of. But anyway, $795 annual fee. You get an increased points value for each dollar in certain categories. So if you go through the Chase travel portal, you will get 8 times the points. So every dollar you spend, 8 points per dollar. This will rack up if you go through that. If you get flights booked direct with it, that's going to be 4 times the points. Same thing for hotels booked direct, which is really, really a lot. 3 points on dining. That's not terribly unusual for some Chase cards. I have a Chase Freedom Unlimited that's kind of my everyday card, and I get 3 points per dollar on that, and then 1 point per dollar that you spend on everything else. So when it says you get 1,200 in annual travel value, that's included in the 2,700 lifestyle credits or travel credits. $300 annual travel credit. So you'll probably get this even if you go to see Granny for a couple of days. You'll spend $200 or $300 on a hotel or something like that if you're not staying in her house. So that will be a travel credit that automatically gets taken off. So you get that $300. You get IHG One Rewards Platinum Elite status. That's actually valuable, and it could wind up saving you a lot of points, because one of the things that comes with the Platinum Elite status with IHG is the ability to get 4 nights for the price of 3 nights in terms of points. It's not for nights that you're staying and paying for, but if you're using points to stay at an IHG, that would be things like the Intercontinental, Crown Plaza, Holiday Inn Express, and several other chains within the IHG family. So that's a pretty good deal. $500 credit for stays with the Edit. Priority Pass membership for you. And if you show up at the airport with 2 guests, you can get them into these Priority Pass lounges. You also get the Chase Sapphire Lounge. You get access to that as well. So that can be a good thing if you travel via plane quite a bit. You can get free food and beverages within those lounges. So that's something that will actually pay back a little bit of that $795 annual fee. You can get global entry every 4 years, get reimbursed for that. Lifestyle credits, a lot of these are not going to apply to everyone. $300 dining credit, and you are limited on where you can actually go with this credit. If you click on this little asterisk here, it will take you to one of the lists that they have for the reserve, and that's where I'm going to go now. This is the page for the Chase Sapphire Reserve exclusive tables program, and this is where you can get the $300 in dining credits. You get 150 for each 6 months of the year. And we scroll down, you have to actually add your eligible card here, but you can scroll down and look at the cities that are available. And you can see here that most of this is going to be in places that are tourist traps or places that are frequented by business owners and people who are going to do business in various and sundry places that are highly inhabited. If you live in Pierre, South Dakota or Helena, Montana, you're probably not going to find something. So I decided to look up New York City because, who doesn't want to go to New York City? Actually, there are a lot of people, but I enjoy New York City. And if you look at these restaurants, a lot of them are fairly high end. So you're going to maybe be able to go once or twice to get the $150 credit if you got a significant other or a friend that you're taking. So it's not going to be McDonald's that you can eat at 30 times or something like that. It's going to be some pretty high end establishment. So, in addition to the $300 in dining credits, you can also get $300 in DoorDash. That's not $25 a month just for restaurants. It's $5 for restaurants, and then two $10 promos to save on groceries, retail, and so forth. So, that's not as good as it might seem unless you use DoorDash to get your groceries and things like that. $120 in lift credits if you're going to cities that you don't live in and you don't have a vehicle when you're there. That could pay off. $300 in StubHub credits, that could benefit you as well if you like to go to football or baseball games or concerts or something like that. There are no foreign transaction fees with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, so that's a benefit. But a lot of people might be concerned with the $795 annual fee, which brings us to the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So, by way of disclosure, I actually have the Chase Sapphire Preferred. I used to have both, but I have the Preferred and I keep it for one reason and one reason alone. It allows me access to the ability to transfer Chase Ultimate Rewards points, which are the points you can get from signing up for either one of these cards. It allows me to transfer those to various and sundry travel loyalty programs. Included among these are things like United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Marriott, IHG Hotels, Hyatt, and a lot of foreign airlines. So it can actually be a pretty good option if you're looking to travel. Now to some of the benefits that you can get from the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So here is the Chase Sapphire Preferred credit card homepage for where you can apply for this card. You can see that the number of points that you get as a welcome offer is quite a bit lower than that you'll get from the Chase Sapphire Reserve, but you still get a healthy 75,000 bonus points by signing up for this card and spending $5,000 in the first 3 months. That is a lower spending requirement. So if that is a concern, this would be a better option for you. They don't have as much in terms of bonus categories, but the 3 times the points on dining is something that is pretty cool with this. The annual fee is a lot lower. And by a lot, I mean about 1/8. It's $795 for the Chase Sapphire Reserve. This one, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, is only $95. It's a lot of an easier pill to swallow in those regards. If you look at some of the benefits in terms of travel, 75,000 bonus points, as I said, you'll also get at least 5,000 points for spending those $5,000. It's probably going to be more because I'm guessing you're going to go to restaurants at least once or twice in a 3 month period. So you'll wind up with at least 80,000 points that you can transfer. If you transfer these to United, you could get 80,000 points, which would allow you to take a round trip to Europe. And that will be a pretty cool thing. Your annual hotel credit is down to $50 from 300. You do have some other bonus categories down here, online grocery purchases, as I said, restaurants. You also have 3 times the points on streaming services. So I get YouTube TV. I pay for it with my Chase Sapphire Preferred, and I get 3 times the points there for every dollar I spend. You do have one-to-one point transfer, which you have with both of these cards. You have travel and purchase coverage with both of these. And again, you get the no foreign transaction fees. So if you take that hypothetical trip on United Airlines to Europe, you pay the taxes with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you're going to be able to have, no travel transaction fees, no foreign transaction fees when you're in, London or Paris or Madrid or Prague or wherever. So that brings us to the question, which of these would I personally get if I were starting on my travel hacking journey in 2026? I may, if I could swing the $795 annual fee, get the Chase Sapphire Reserve for 1 year only. And the reason why I would get it for 1 year only is the fact that I wouldn't want to pay that over and over and over again. You can always upgrade later on if it fits your needs better, but I would probably get it just for the bigger bonus and then downgrade after a year. The bigger bonus could possibly get you a couple of tickets to Europe or Asia if you play your cards right. Your miles will vary in that instance, but it is a possibility. So I would probably start with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Don't feel bad if you opt for the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Now, why would I start with one of these two cards? It's because of that transferable points option primarily. primarily. And I would hold on to one of these indefinitely. I want to point out you can only get this bonus one time in your lifetime, basically. There is new language on the sign up page that basically tells you that. And so, since I've had them both, I'm not going to be getting either of the bonuses anytime soon. So, I plan to keep the Chase Sapphire Preferred for the long haul. I will leave a link in the description below that will sign you up with my link. I could get 15 or 20,000 bonus points, but you'll get whatever the highest point value is now. You can always check back, but if you want to support the channel, that would be much appreciated. So I would keep the Chase Sapphire Preferred over the long haul. And if I was, getting a little bit of heartburn because of the $795 annual fee that will take a while to recoup, I would go ahead and get the Preferred. If not, then get the Reserve and downgrade, or keep it if you find that you get more than $795 worth of value over the course of a year. So that's what I would do if I were getting started today. It's harder to get bonuses than it used to be. The spending requirements are higher. Not just that, there are limits on the number of times that you can get a bonus. So that's the one I would start with and go from there. It could get you some pretty good deals on airfare going around the world. So, anyway, hope you have found this useful. If so, be sure again to hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, have a great day.